oleh because usually functions as an optional marker for agents in dipassive and verbish nouns. However, there are 4 contexts where oleh is mandatory. In dipassive, when the agent does not immediately follow the diverb. Example 1a, Flashi di cambuk lagi, oleh ketua kelas. Flashi was caned again by the class prefect. Verbish nouns that include a direct object in front of the marked agent. Example 1b, pembunuh terhadap wisatawan oleh Komodo, the killing of a tourist by a Komodo dragon. Interpassive and ke-passive and ke-unpassive. Example 1c, Sullivan sambar oleh petir. Sullivan was struck by lightning. Example 1b, jeritan korban Komodo kedengaran oleh penduduk desa. The Komodo dragon's victim's screams could be heard by the villagers. And adversative ke-an. 1e, istrinya kesambaran Sullivan oleh petir. His wife suffered a strike of Sullivan by lightning. Oleh also has uses outside of passive contexts. Here's an inventory. Marking agents in dipassive verbs, terpassive verbs, and informal ke-passive, ke-unpassive counterparts. Marking agents of verbish nouns, including verbish noun-like adversative ke-an. Oleh karena, oleh sebab mean because. One wrinkle. They can optionally be replaced with oleh when they follow an intransitive verb. Example 2, wisatawan tewas oleh karena Komodo. A tourist perished because of a Komodo dragon. The patterns ramai oleh, banyak oleh express a large number of. Alternatively, the pattern sejumlah besar plus noun can also be used. Example 3, Pulau Komodo ramai dikunjungi oleh para wisatawan. Komodo Island is crowded with tourists. Can also be expressed as Pulau Komodo banyak dikunjungi oleh para wisatawan, or Pulau Komodo dikunjungi oleh sejumlah besar wisatawan. Mempur combines with the base oleh to give memperoleh, to get something, and perolehan, an acquisition. Mock passive. Mock passive is a workaround for agents that cannot be used in dipassive, that is, first person or second person pronouns, such as saya, kami, anda, kalian, or equivalent nouns, such as pak or yang mulia. Theoretically, mock passive can also be used with third person pronouns, such as dia, mereka. However, since third-person pronouns can be used in dipassive and even replaced with nya, they rarely show up in mock passive. The sentence pattern used by mock passive has 3 unusual features. Example 1b, Komodo itu tidak akan bisa kubunuh. The Komodo dragon is the one that I will not be able to kill. Feature 1, the verb is used in its bare bones form, that is, without a prefix. Bunuh, not membunuh. The bound subject pronouns ku, kau are usually used instead of the corresponding pronouns. So instead of saya bunuh, it's ku bunuh. Tidak, preverb adverbs, modal verbs that would otherwise go immediately before a verb are moved in front of the agent. So here we have tidak akan bisa kubunuh. The mock passive sentence pattern appears at first glance to be derived from yang relative clauses that have their own subjects. In fact, sometimes mock passive sentences even include a vestigial yang. Here's an example. In this example, dipassive and mock passive, and the similar sentence with the yang clause, move the patient Komodo to the front of the sentence. So in the active sentence, saya tidak akan bisa membunuh Komodo itu. I will not be able to kill that Komodo dragon. Komodo dragon jumps to the front to become the subject in the die-passive and mock-passive sentence. Mock-passive then links Komodo itu to a predicate, tidak akan bisa kubunuh, I will not be able to kill, that is identical to the corresponding yang clause, but for the absence of yang. So mock-passive, Komodo itu tidak akan bisa kubunuh. The Komodo dragon is the one I will not be able to kill. What's really going on here? Let's compare the sentence structure of mock-passive and the related yang clause. It turns out that the yang clause in the yang pattern above is not a relative clause. That is, a clause that modifies a head noun. Instead, yang itself is a head noun proxy that nominalizes the stuff that comes after it. Thus, in this example, yang tidak akan bisa kubunuh is not a relative clause that means that I will not be able to kill, but instead a noun that means the one that I will not be able to kill. Accordingly, the yang pattern in the example above is a run-of-the-mill equative sentence that links a noun subject to a noun predicate. Similarly, there's nothing mysterious about mock-passive sentences. They are simply mildly ungrammatical variants of equative sentences that use nominalized yang clauses. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Moreover, although customary word order in Indonesian is often amenable to rearrangement for emphasis or other stylistic effect, mock-passive strictly adheres to an inverted pattern where tidak, preverb, adverbs, and mobile verbs go in front of the subject instead of after it. Thus, the example above of tidak akan bisa kubunuh is an inversion of the customary word order in saya tidak akan bisa membunuh.
Genjer-genjer nong kedoan bating keleler. Genjer-genjer nong kedoan bating keleler. Maedole teko-teko mu putih genjer. Maedole teko-teko mu putih genjer.
Here's an inventory for contexts in which inversions are favored over customary word order. Preverb adverbs and modal verbs that go in front of the subject. Mock passive, example 1a, Komodo itu tidak akan bisa kubunuh. The Komodo dragon I will not be able to kill. Yang relative clauses with their own subjects, such as modified head nouns. Example 1b, Komodo yang tidak akan bisa kubunuh itu. The Komodo dragon that I will not be able to kill. Nominalized yang clauses in questions with siapa apa. Example 1c, apa yang harus saya lakukan sekarang? What should I do now? And questions that start with bolehkah, bisakah? Bolehkah saya melihat komodomu sekarang? May I see your Komodo dragon now? Verb or other predicate elements in front of the subject. Direct quotes. Saya datang ke sini bukan untuk berbicara, melainkan untuk mati. Katanya. I come here not to speak but to die, said he. Bawa untuk supaya clauses that are subjects often go after the predicate. So the sentence in example 2b, untuk menangkap seekor komodo sulit. To catch a Komodo dragon is difficult. Usually appears as sulit untuk menangkap seekor komodo. It's difficult to catch a Komodo dragon. Indirect questions that are subjects of a passive verb. Example 2c. Siapa yang akan dikorbankan belum diketahui who will be sacrificed is not yet known is reworked as belum diketahui siapa yang akan dikorbankan. It is not yet known who will be sacrificed. Predicates marked with lah. Example 2D. The sentence kamu gagal, you failed, turns into gagalah kamu, you up. Reflexive verbs in dipassive. Example 2E, there's our get out of free jail card. Other things in front of the subject. Object, topic, comment, sentences, 3A. Saya tidak akan bisa membunuh Komodo itu. I will not be able to kill the Komodo dragon can be reworked as a topic comment sentence as Komodo itu. Saya tidak akan bisa bunuhnya. As for that Komodo dragon, I will not be able to kill it. Possessor, topic, comment, sentences. Example 3B. The sentence keterampilan algojo, Jack Ketch, buruk. The executioner, Jack Ketch, skills were poor, can be turned into algojo Jack Ketch, keterampilannya buruk. As for the executioner, Jack Ketch, his skills are poor. Collective number, topic, comment, sentences. 3C. Semua kadal ini berasal dari Pulau Komodo. All of these lizards are from Komodo Island. Can be turned into Komodo ini semuanya berasal dari Pulau Komodo. As for these lizards, all of them are from Komodo Island. Relatedly, here's a partial inventory for word order related quirks for certain words. Word order can invert without changing the meaning for the following. Rankings with ter superlative or ke ordinal. Example 1, Komodo tur buas kedua can also be expressed as Komodo kedua yang tur buas, the second most fierce Komodo dragon. Sedikit, a little bit, and banyak, a lot. Example 2a, aku sedikit takut pada Komodo. I'm a little bit afraid of Komodo dragons can be alternatively expressed as aku takut sedikit pada Komodo. And example 2b, saya banyak tahu tentang awat merawat Komodo. I know everything about caring for Komodo dragons can be alternatively expressed as saya tahu banyak tentang awat merawat Komodo. Tadi and nanti, earlier, later. Example 3a, tadi pagi and pagi tadi mean earlier this morning. Example 3b, nanti sore, sore nanti means later this evening. Frequency was sekali. Example 4, sekali seminggu or seminggu sekali mean once a week. Measure words can move from in front of a noun to behind it for stylistic flourish. In example 5, tolong beri saya 2 kilo beras, the regular structure, can be reworked as tolong beri saya beras 2 kilo. Please give me 2 kilos of rice. Indefinite numbers such as semua go before nouns but after pronouns. Example 6a, you say semua orang, all of the people, or mereka semua, all of them. Similarly, group numbers go before nouns as coordinals, but after pronouns as ber plus a number. Example 6b, kedua anjing, both dogs, or mereka berdua, both of them. The intensifier sama sekali, absolutely, can go before a negation or after the predicate center. Example 7, Komodo ini bukan milikmu sama sekali. The Komodo dragon is absolutely not yours can also be expressed as Komodo ini sama sekali bukan milikmu. As described in the presentations about grammatical registers and sentences, the particles kan, ya, dong can go in various parts of sentences. Word order can invert, but the meaning changes for the following. Lagi before a verb is an informal way to say sedang in the middle of doing something. After the verb, it means kembali, again. In example 8, the sentence aku lagi mikirin Komodo means I'm thinking about Komodo dragons. And the sentence aku mikirin lagi Komodo means I'm thinking about Komodo dragons again. Ke plus number makes group numbers if before the noun and ordinals if after the noun. Kedua anak, 2 children, and anak kedua, the second child. Unlike their many synonyms, oleh sebab cannot be used in clauses at the beginning of sentences. Example 10, sebab itu aku terlambat is awkward. You can say karena itu aku terlambat, but you can say aku terlambat sebab itu. I'm late because of this. The pattern meng plus duplicated verb base expresses casual action, whereas verb base meng verb base expresses gerund like nouns. Example 11, menulis means to write this and that, whereas tulis means writing. The meaning of an adverb negation pair usually changes logically when the order changes. Example 12, saya tidak selalu memikirkan Komodo. I don't always think about Komodo dragons. Or, saya selalu tidak memikirkan Komodo. I always don't think about Komodo dragons. Finally, although yang nominalization is described in the presentation about nominalization, it can't hurt to emphasize here that its grammatical importance goes way beyond the customary banal example of yang plus adjective, such as yang merah, the red one. For example, yang nominalization is the secret sauce not only for mock passive, but also for questions that use the question words siapa, who, and apa, what. It also is one of the key tools for organizing and emphasizing adjectives. Take-home lessons. Active transitive verbs can be converted to the passive voice by affixation with die. Example 1a, ketua kelas mencabut flashy. The class prefix caned flashy, the active sentence, can be converted to the passive sentence as flashy dicambut ketua kelas. Flashy was caned by the class prefect. Die passive is analogous to the passive voice in English. Here are some of its features. Oleh can optionally mark the agent for clarity. However, it's mandatory when the agent does not immediately follow the die verb. Example 1b, flashy dicambut ketua kelas. Flashy was caned by the class prefect. And the sentence, flashy dicambut lagi, oleh ketua kelas. Flashy was caned again by the class prefect. Die passive can be used when the agent is unknown or not relevant, or orang can be used as a proxy. Example 1c, Komodo saya dicuri can be expressed as Komodo saya dicuri orang. My Komodo dragon was stolen. Die passive converts to ter passive in contexts where the action is non-intentional. Example 2a, the active sentence petir menyambar Sullivan, lightning struck Sullivan, does not become passive with disambar, but with tersambar. Sullivan tersambar oleh petir. Sullivan was struck by lightning. Here are some of ter passive's features. Stative ter passive does not have agents and removes suffixes from the verb. For example, in the intentional context, mukanya diolesi dengan darah oleh Moses. His face was smeared with blood by Moses. Becomes, in the stative context, mukanya teroles dengan darah. His face was smeared with blood. Accidental ter passive is replaced by accidental ke passive in the register. Saya terbangan oleh bau mulut busuk Komodo in informal contexts is expressed as saya kebangun oleh bau mulut busuk Komodo. I was awakened by the Komodo dragon's rotten breath. Adversative ke-an makes sentences that express that the subject suffers as a result of the matter described by the predicate. Example 3, the two sentences Komodo saya hilang, saya menderita karena itu, my Komodo dragon disappeared, I'm suffering because of this, can be rewritten in adversative ke-an as saya kehilangan Komodo. I'm the one who's suffering the loss of my Komodo dragon. Mock passive is used instead of die passive when the agent is an interlocutor. Example 4, the active sentence, saya tidak akan bisa membunuh Komodo itu, I will not be able to kill that Komodo dragon, becomes in mock passive, Komodo itu tidak akan bisa ku bunuh. The Komodo dragon is the one that I will not be able to kill. Mock passive is derived from yang relative clauses that have their own subjects. Here are some of its features. The bare bones form of the verb, without a prefix, is used. The bound subject pronouns ku, kau, are usually used for the agent instead of the corresponding standalone pronouns, that is, saya, aku, and anda, kamu, kau. Tidak, preverb adverbs, modal verbs, that would otherwise go in front of the verb are moved in front of the agent. Yang nominalization is the special sauce that makes mock passive and other anomalous sentence structures. Here's our outro joke. Grammar. This series of video presentations includes original pornographic material that illustrates key concepts in Indonesian grammar. The following scene includes dialogue that is composed of model sentences based on this presentation.